Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you jumping on. Today, we are going to hear from the head of the Bank of International Settlements regarding the need for them to change because of the pressure they're feeling from Bitcoin and the crypto industry. And you're also going to hear from Jim Rickards regarding a blockchain that is going to be used in the new financial system and what his thoughts are on that. Do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button, helps the channel. Let's look at some pricing first. Bitcoin down slightly, sitting at 71,880. Ethereum up slightly, sitting at 2,679 over the last 24 hours. Solana sitting at 174, down almost 4% in the last 24 hours. And XRP down almost 1.5%, sitting at 52 cents. Let's dive in to some news. And first, coming to us from Emily here. She says, wow, new Ripple advertisement about their new stablecoin RLUSD. Ripple enables enterprise around the world to tokenize, store, exchange, and move value. We're building the internet of value today. Take a listen.
For over a decade, Ripple has worked to bridge the gap between blockchain and traditional finance. We've built enterprise-grade digital asset infrastructure, trusted by the world's largest banks. From instant global payouts and access to off-ramps, to secure digital asset custody solutions, to the stablecoin created with trust and compliance at its core. Ripple enables enterprises around the world to tokenize, store, exchange, and move value. We're not waiting for the future of finance to arrive. We're building the Internet of Value today. For over a decade, Ripple has worked.
Good share there from Emily and RLUSD. I thought it'd be out by now. It's not yet. Hopefully, we're at the end of October here. Hopefully, we'll get it by mid-November. Fingers crossed. Let's take a look at this next news piece from Subjective Views. He says, Augustin Carstens, general manager of the Bank of International Settlements, just admitted that the popularity of Bitcoin and crypto challenged the central bank's monopoly on money. I'll give you a piece of this, but not all of this, as it's a longer video, but take a listen to the beginning of this.
I think when we started all this debate in seriously, like 7-8 years ago, or probably a little bit more, a lot of the discussion was started by the popularity that Bitcoin, crypto, and then stablecoin received. We were challenged. The central banks usually were not challenged with respect of our basic monopoly, which is the provision of money. Now, this is not the first time in history that private sector efforts tried to displace central banks. Eventually, we went through the same story. I think now, basically, in terms of money, legal tender has reestablished its role, and that's because it has come to fruition that there are at least three things that are important that central bank money has, and the money also supported by commercial banks. One is singularity, but the other very associated with it is finality of payments, where the finality of payments is guaranteed by the fact that wholesale payments, but also retail payments are settled in central bank money through the banking system. So also for retail, CBDC money is very important. And third, because I think that we should build on the trust that the central banks and money supported by the.
We'll stop it there, but clearly they're feeling the pressure of Bitcoin and crypto becoming a part of our financial system. And they're trying to figure out ways to basically stall and make sure the banks are still a major part of this. When he talks about final settlement and singularity, clearly they're trying to stall. Part of the reason the SEC is involved in all these court cases. So, moving on, Emily comes back with wow, Jim Rickards on the BRICS new gold-backed payment system. They will be using a blockchain technology that has been around for a long time. Which one could it be? Perhaps one BRICS countries have successfully tested in the past. Hashtag XRP. Let's take a listen to Mr. Rickards.
Their big announcement, have been waiting for the new BRICS currency. They did not announce that. That may be years away, but they did something equally important. They created a BRICS payment system, clearance and settlement of securities transactions, and a digital ledger of what one country owes to the other, etc. So it's a payment, balance of payment recording system. Again, all using blockchain technology, which has been around a long time. The importance of that is now they're completely outside the dollar system. It doesn't mean they'll never do another dollar transaction, but recall they've been Russia, at least, and some of the other countries have been kicked out of the dollar system. So if you kick somebody out of the club, they're going to start their own club, and that's exactly what they've done. Now, this is mostly trade-oriented. I don't want to suggest it's the end of the dollar, but it's kind of the beginning of the end. Sterling in 1913 was the global reserve currency, and by 1944, it was a footnote. Well, that took 30 years. These things play out over time. This could move very, very quickly. But one really important element, so let's say Russia ships energy to China, and China pays them in Chinese yuan. And then China ships manufactured goods to Brazil, and Brazil pays them in their local currency. And you're keeping all this on a ledger. The central banks in each country can pay the sellers and the buyers, but the countries then have a ledger where they owe each other a certain amount. Well, you have two problems there. One is you might have too much of the currency, that more than you can really spend. If you have a big yuan balance, but you don't need that much from China, what are you going to do with the excess? The other thing is you have exchange risk. If Russia has a big yuan balance from China and the Chinese yuan devalues, Russia could lose money on that. So how do you solve that? The answer, which is 5,000 years old, is gold. In other words, if you have too much of the other guy's currency, you can just buy some gold, sell for dollars and buy gold. Or just buy gold directly. I should also mention they set up a new commodities exchange that includes gold. So you can buy gold in local currency and then just have the gold. And that obviously solves your foreign exchange problem. So this is, apart from pointing to the end of the dollar, at least in trade as a trade currency, it's extremely bullish for gold.
The end of the dollar. It's not coming anytime soon, so don't panic and worry about that. But it is slowly being erased, and eventually it will go away altogether. And it'll be in the way of stable coins. And here, subjective views comes in and says the central bankers don't seem to be keen on stable coins. We just talked about the gentleman from the Bank of International Settlements and how the banks are stalling. Well, it's not a surprise they're not keen on stable coins because, again, it's going to take business away from the banks. Take a listen.
Is around stablecoins. And the reason I'm raising it, I used to think that the issue ultimately with stablecoins is the only way for stablecoins to be fully stable was to be backed by the balance sheet of the central bank. And if you're backed by the balance sheet of the central bank, aren't you a central bank digital currency? But often with innovation, you have temporary structures that help link into a tokenized world, which is what stable coins today do, private stable coins. And so just how you see them and how you see the time horizon of maybe the pathway where the CBDC steps in. And Andrew, you may have a thought, or Augustine, yeah.
Well, I agree with you. We've done a lot of work on, preparing to regulate stable coins, and we really end up, particularly for what I might call the more systemic ones, we really end up just where you are, which is you end up saying the only way to make them truly stable is to have them fully backed by central bank reserves. Yeah. In which case you've got synthetic central bank currency money. But I think you're right. So you may say, well, you sort of dismiss it there. But I think you're right. The question then is, yes, but do you get, it sort of goes to what Augustine was saying, is there some stepping stone by which that's a way to achieve tokenization? Now, I think the challenge we always get back is it at all a commercial proposition if you're sort of restricting it like that? But I think you have to go back and say, anything else that it doesn't have that characteristic doesn't have the characteristic of money. That's the ultimate point. Yeah.
So that's their point of view. Obviously, they're bankers. They're on the side of the bankers. And you can see a lot of this is just stalling. They know they can't stop what's coming in Bitcoin and the rest of crypto and how this is going to help provide citizens with more financial freedom. But they are stalling, ladies and gentlemen. They are stalling. And they're going to continue to do so. Hopefully, we get some stablecoin regulation in the US very soon. We'll have a presidential change here soon, whether it be Harris or Trump. That will probably also mean the removal of SEC chair Gary Gensler, which will also be a good thing for the crypto industry. So more to come. Thank you for tuning in. Do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. Follow me on X at Orlando Mott. We will see you on the flip side.